Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Supreme Court fixes October 30th to hear a fresh appeal filed by Atiku Abubakar challenging the victory of President Muhammadu Buhari in the 2019 presidential election. Lagos State House of Assembly summons former Governor Akiwumi Ambode. So the lawmakers say he has some questions to answer. Nigeria's Guild of Medical Directors and Rights Activists asked the federal government to immortalize late Dr. Stella Adadevo, who died preventing Ebola virus from spreading in Nigeria. And US President Donald Trump confirms the death of ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi during a US military operation in northwest Syria. For more information on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com. youtube.com/channelsweb has videos of our shows. Let's take a look at some of the pictures you sent into our Eyewitness report. To begin with this picture from Cross River State. It shows the state of the Okowa section of the informal Budu Road, which, according to our Eyewitness reporter, has been under construction for over 3 years. The plea is for the state governor to intervene by ensuring the completion of the project at a faster pace. In this next picture is a classroom in a school in Kebbi State. The Eyewitness says pretty much the entire school is in dilapidated state. He's calling on the state government to step in and fix the school's infrastructure to make learning more conducive for students. Finally, is this picture from Buhari Area Council in Abuja, where we see an electricity pole leaning over what appears to be a residential building. According to the Eyewitness, the pole fell on the house after a heavy rainfall. Is asking the electricity authorities to come put the pole back in its place to avoid electrocution. Thanks for sending in those pictures, and please keep them coming. Since a bill renaming the Nigerian prisons as Nigerian Correctional Service was signed into law in August 2019, the custodial centers have been receiving one form of attention or the other. In the next report, our correspondent, Ini John Mekwa, takes a look at the reformation steps which the government is putting in place to meet up with the name change.
The Nigerian Prison Service is now the Nigerian Correctional Service. What that means is that the facility is supposed to hold individuals for reformation, and this reformation comes in different forms. Some will come from the people and some will obviously come from the government. And some of those activities we see here at Okowa. Their movement may have been restricted, but their minds are not, which is why at the slightest opening to engage their talents, inmates seize it. Their identity is protected because most of them are awaiting trial. A non-governmental organization worked with them to put this into place, and the viewers agree that indeed there are potentials here.
It is very glaring that they had several hours of rehearsals, and I can see a lot of talents, amongst the inmates.
To reform the prison system, what I've learned is you need to be creative about it. Yeah? There's no way you can reform inmates or even affect a change in anything if there's no strategy.
There are other tools engaged in the reformation which the government has employed. It is also important to note that these are not new.
There's nothing you talk about it that you don't have. All our uniforms are being sold here. You see how they paint this place is done by them. You see photographing, you see furniture, you see all those things.
While the minds are engaged, it's no longer news that many who are here should not be here. And this is supposed to be catered for in the new structure of the correctional service.
Apart from the non-custodial measures that we have now, we also do case integration and case filing update. We do plea bargain initiative, where we also look at and say, they advise the inmate, maybe we'll consider taking a plea bargain so you get sentenced and get maybe lower offense, but for time served already on detention. So there are a lot of initiatives that we have, and we have the Chief Judge's visit and release. We have the prerogative of mercy by the governor. So in Lagos State, we've been fortunate.
The new Correctional Service Act allows officers of the custodial centers to reject admission of inmates in some defined circumstances. This is to boost community service and depopulate the custodial centers. Ini John Mekwa reporting for Channels Television News.
President Muhammadu Buhari will on Monday leave for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to attend the third edition of the Future Investments Initiative, organized by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. More than 4,000 delegates from over 90 countries are expected to participate in the conference, and President Buhari will be speaking about the economic opportunities in Nigeria and his administration's drive to improve the business environment. A statement from the presidency indicates that the president is seeking further investment as he embarks on the trip in the company of governors from Borno, Kebbi, and Katsina states, as well as ministers and other top government officials. This trip is coming days after the president returned from a summit in Russia, which lasted 3 days. Efforts made by the Delta State Governor Okowa and his team in China to sell the Kwale Industrial Park project may have paid off, with some prospective investors indicating interest to commit their resources. The governor also confirmed that some others have signed a memorandum of understanding to that effect when he spoke at the Natural Gas and Chemicals International Forum in Nanjing, China.
The Delta State government is still in talks with the Chinese government to reach an agreement on the commencement of the Kwale Industrial Park in order to commercialize the large quantity of gas deposit. This time, the governor moves his pitch to the very busy city of Nanjing, where he meets with business communities in search of investors.
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to spend the next...
His search may have finally paid off, judging by his words.
Delta State is jumpstarting an aggressive gas-based industrialization agenda, and today, 6 investors looking to take advantage of compelling incentives and a robust gas resource base to locate their facilities in Delta State.
Representatives of the federal government and a director from the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, Mr. Peter Ekozo, says the initiative is in line with the federal government's policies to advance economic diversification and development.
There will be so many spin-off industries. It will create jobs. It will generate wealth. It will also take all our youths off the streets. It will create a variety of skills, both in logistics, in manufacturing, and also in electricity generation. If we remember, our economy right now is mono-source economy. So when methanol comes in, it's going to diversify our economic base and, of course, value addition to the economy.
Governor Okowa speaks on the outcome of the session.
We had a very, very useful section. We've answered most of their questions. We have also asked some questions which they provided answers to, and we are hoping that in the next 2 weeks there will be a communication between them and our team from Nigeria. And they are looking forward to, the chairman of the company is looking forward to being in Nigeria sometime in November, before the end of November. And if all things work well, and we believe that everything is really set to go, we hope that by next year they will be in Delta, the Kwale Industrial Park, to begin the process of construction.
According to the Delta State government, the Kwale Industrial Park, when completed, will create jobs for over 75,000 people in the state.
This week, the World Bank released its latest findings on the ease of doing business. The report scores and ranks 190 countries on their business reforms. This edition of the World Bank study reveals that Nigeria is among the top 10 countries that have made progress in the ease of doing business. To discuss this report tonight is Babajide Ogusowo, Channel Television's data consultant who loves figures. You're very at ease with them. Thanks again for being here, and I see the ball is back. Well, let me just start off, according to, the latest report on the ease of doing business, what do you think are the factors that have made it easier to do business in Nigeria, and how can other African countries help improve their own rankings?
From what the report shows, time is now on Nigeria's side. The president is also going to Saudi Arabia to attract investment. Is that a good move? Yes, it is. Does the ease of doing business report give Nigerians a lot to smile about? Yes, it does. Are we seeing some positive opportunities opening up in the South region? Yes, we are. What we also now need to do is for those northern states as well to be able to find similar ways to attract investment, similar to what we're seeing in Delta State. But here's the fact about the ease of doing business report, that unbiased report from the World Bank. From their own evidence, they say Nigeria is now among the top 10 countries that it's become easier to do business. We are still not where we want to be, but when it comes to progress, the report shows that we are among the top 10. But I would also like us to look at our progress within the last 5 years. And if we study that ease of doing business report, what you find out is within the last 5 years, we've been making consecutive progress. And so we see from the World Bank study in 2016, we scored 49.4 on the ease of doing business report. We've seen that progress now, and right now, from the World Bank's findings, we've scored above 50. Well, we need to compete better. What do I mean by we need to compete better? Which country is being rated as the most favorable for ease of doing business? New Zealand. And so, just like footballers compete, if there were to be a World Cup for businessmen, which country would win it? New Zealand. And so we need to focus on the progress we've made in the last 4 years. We are now 56.9 on our business score, 4 consecutive years of growth, but we now need to compete better by looking at countries that are doing significantly good on the ease of doing business report. And how do countries achieve that? One word, reforms. So we need to, in the words of a wise man that says, discard what we don't need and retain what we need. So those are the two things the government now needs to focus on. Discard what we don't need in terms of reforms, and let's retain the things that we need.
Yeah, and speaking of reforms, there have been a lot of them, I know, in the past 5 years, as you rightly pointed out. What else do we need to do to improve our ranking to be one of the top 5 so that, even before we attend these meetings, we already have people asking us, what can we do to get in on the action in Nigeria?
We could look at this. The World Bank talks about 10 areas. But tonight, I don't want us to focus on 10 areas because we don't have enough time. But if there are 3 things based on their report that Nigeria could do to improve on their rating, there are 3 things the World Bank has talked about: access to electricity, the ease of registering property, and ease of getting credit. So access to electricity, ease of registering property, and ease of getting credit. And based on the World Bank's findings, if we're able to improve on these 3 areas, then we will move up the ladder of countries. So right now we have 190 countries. The World Bank says Nigeria is on number 131. However, even though we're on number 131 on the ladder, among countries that have seen significant improvement, we are among those 10 top countries. And the good news, Amarachi, is 2 of those countries in the top 10 are Africans, Togo and Nigeria. So there's now a lot of good news coming out, not just from Nigeria, but from Africa. And that is a lot of positive hope.
Yeah. So the ease of doing business, does it reveal anything about other stakeholders in the business value chain, especially consumers?
So the question is, people are asking, how does the ease of business affect them? What is this report? What does it mean for the common man? And the evidence shows that if it's easier for businesses to do business in Nigeria, then it becomes easier for businesses to be more successful. And when businesses are more successful, they will employ more people. And when more people are employed, if you're into business, you are most likely to get more people buying from you. And if you're also offering a service, you're also most likely to get more options in terms of places that you can offer your services to. So the ease of business report isn't just a fancy report that is attractive to the corporate sector. It's a report, and its information is relevant to not just that high net worth sector, but to also the common man. Again, the key word from this report is reforms. Let's discard what we don't need and let's retain what we need. And states also have to play a significant role in making sure that it becomes easier for you to do business. Because I also know someday you'll be a successful businesswoman.
And I know your own business is thriving too. So, Babajide, thank you again.
It's becoming easier to do business in Nigeria.
Thank you again for joining us on the News at 10. A pleasure having you here. And when the News at 10 returns, residents seek refuge in IDP camps as property worth millions of naira destroyed by flood in Anambra State. Please join us again.